Today's video, we're talking about Michael Blackson. The title here says refuses to pay 10% bribe to retrieve his 1.2 million investment in Ghana. However, I actually think that's a subplot to one of the real issues as a diasporan moving to Ghana. The laws and the ability to actually seize your money without your permission. And this is something that I've always had a fear of, because as a potential investor in Ghana, I wonder what would happen if I really started putting money in my Ghanaian bank account. What if I really started storing money in my Momo account, my mobile money account? It's called Momo here. It's kind of like Apple Pay. Can the government seize? I've spoken to many of my elders here in their 60s and 70s who's been here since the early 2000s, some in the 90s, and you hear the numerous stories about government freezing people assets for government use. So going back to the title here, the headline is he refused to pay a 10% bribe, but it's to retrieve his $1 million investment. So the questions that we have to ask, and this is for learning purposes only. I'm not affiliated with any political party. This is not a knock on the Ghanaian government. I love Ghana. I'm just teaching diasporans and giving my commentary based on ways to help us thrive and actually help generate money, improvement, development to the country. So again, I do want to discuss why his $1.2 million was seized and utilized by the government in the first place. And then respect to GBC, I know a lot of people in GBC News. The headline is about his refusal to pay 10%. But to me, the smaller thing is, why did he have to retrieve his money in the first place? And that's, two problems, but we'll just talk about one. Ghanaian American comedian actor Michael Blackson has revealed that he turned down an alleged request for a 10% bribe in exchange for recovering his $1.2 million investment trapped in Ghana's domestic debt exchange program, DDEP. Now, when you listen to the DJ Vlad interview, which I'll attempt to play in a few, they don't talk about the domestic debt exchange program. He says that his money was sent to China to help repay the China debt. So this domestic debt exchange program, the DDEP, is the actual program. The issue that many diasporans, as you know, as it says right here, Michael Blackson is Ghanaian American. He didn't volunteer his money to be used for that exchange. He built a school here in Ghana, and he wanted to use the $1.2 million to invest in Euro bonds and use the interest that he makes on the Euro bonds in order to get the money, in order to use that money to go towards investing in the school. And then from there, he get his money back in the future. But his money was seized after just a couple of months of exchange. I'll see if when I do the video, if I'm able to, when I get to the video, let's see if my computer will log up. Please, you see my Cash App at the bottom. I need to buy a new computer. So if you like the content and you want me to do even better videos, send something to the Cash App. I want to buy a new computer and, really get these videos to you the way that I want to. The comedian, known for building a free school in Ghana, expressed disappointment in how the previous administration handled the situation. As of now, it's February 2025. The new administration entered office January 2025. They were elected in December, and this is something that was happening over the course of 2024. September 2024 is when he first announced that his money was stolen. I'm sorry, not stolen. His money was seized through the DDEP. I apologize. I didn't mean stolen. He used the word stolen in the interview, so that word is stuck in my head. I apologize. And I'm not throwing you under the bus, Michael. Shout out to you for building the school. He claimed that instead of honoring their obligation to investors, they redirected funds to settle external debt, to China specifically. Blackson added that he was given two options: accept an immediate 37% loss with lower interest rate, or wait 15 years to get his full investment back, but with significantly reduced returns. Basically, they're just telling him, like, take a 37% haircut or wait 15 years where you can't promise nothing. And even in the interview, he said he wished he would have paid the 10% bribe. Unfortunately, I don't bribe or do anything like that anymore because I just realized that it's a lot to, when you get in trouble, you get extorted for a lot more than that. I've heard too many stories. I had too many close calls. No way on the African continent you gonna really catch me doing bribes. That's a dangerous game to play, especially when you're talking about like big time money in a small country. Again, Ghana is only the size of Oregon. To me, in my opinion, it only has 2 major cities, Accra and Kumasi. There's other nice cities like Ho or Tamale, but Ghana is a small place. Ghana is a small city, a mid-sized American state. The comedian said he chose to fight for his money instead of paying a bribe, believed that as long as the funds remain unpaid, he could continue advocating for their release. Yes, he did say that. This money, and he might get it back because if he really wanted to stir up some real trouble, he wouldn't necessarily be banned from Ghana, but he could put that pressure on the Ghanaian government because in a state, what can a big influencer do in a state? A lot of people from the United States, including myself, we really don't understand how large the United States is. The United States are. There's 50 countries in the United States. Ghana would be the 11th largest state, 12th largest state. Ghana is about the size of Oregon. So think about that. Imagine if somebody with mega influence decided to call out a governor. And I'm talking about like majorly well-known, wealthy influencer want to call out a governor in a mid-sized American state. Under the right circumstances, that can be national news. And in a place like that, where tourism and things of that nature are so prominent. I'm sorry, I'm doing a video and somebody's just dropping stuff and knocking stuff down outside. Sorry about that. Despite his grievance, Blackson emphasized that he does not blame Ghana as a nation, but holds the previous MPP government responsible for the financial losses suffered by investors. MPP was the former government that left office. In DC is the current office that's now in power. He also expressed hope that the new administration will handle the situation differently. I love Ghana. It's a great country with great people. My issue is with those in office at that time. Excuse me. I love Ghana. It's a great country with great people. My issue is with those in office at that time. Blackson revealed add to the growing concerns among investors who suffered losses under Ghana's debt restructuring program. Many have called for government intervention to address their grievances. This is an interesting story because my thing is their money was put in for investments and their money was used without their permission. And I do feel that if money is put into the government, it should be some sort of forewarning or some sort of, and maybe it is there. Besides his banker, he talks about his bankers not wanting him about, I think JP Morgan or Merrill Lynch, he had mentioned warning him about putting his money in the Ghanaian bank, saying that once it's in the Ghanaian bank, that it's not safe anymore. I recently had a friend talk to me. He was saying that it's better to put your money in a trust fund than in the Ghana banks. I'm just a new citizen, so I'm doing my own research. Check out my book, How to Achieve Dual Citizenship in Ghana, link in the description. Or you can check out my book, Repatriation, Tips and Strategies for Moving to the African Continent, link in the description. Let's see if we can watch the video without my computer tripping out.
Your last few interviews, you're talking about the school that you've been building in Ghana.
Yeah.
But recently, I read that Ghana robbed you for $1 million.
First, let me say, this guy, VladTV, man, his voice and dictions, it's slow. Look at Michael Blackson's face. The voice inflections that Vlad does in an interview, it affects people emotionally. Whether you're talking about the rapper, the thug, whatever's going on, it affects people emotionally. And when he said they robbed you in the voice infliction, look at the pain on Michael's face.
Yeah, actually $1.2 million.
1.2 million.
Well, I mean, Rob.
1.2 million. Like the price is right. Like the price went up. Like it was the price did go up, but like it was like an auction.
I was probably obsessed. So I probably made it a little bit more harsh than what it was. So when I built
Okay,
this school,
sorry.
That
That's important to go back because this is where he said he backtracked on the word rob.
Ghana robbed you for $1 million.
yeah, actually 1.2 million.
1.2 million.
Well, I mean, robbery, I was probably obsessed. So I probably made it a little bit more harsh than what it was.
So again, maybe, it was explained to him better, but the DDEP program, it's not technically robbing him. And that's why as dual citizens, that's why as people looking to move to different countries, especially on anywhere, I'm not going to even say especially on the African continent, we have to understand that there's laws, there's taxes. We have to read the fine print. We have to read the fine print.
So when I built this school, I've been going home for the past since when I went back home for the first
Hold
time.
on, let me.
Past 20 years, I've been going home. I'll go home and one thing I noticed a lot of the kids in the cities or even the villages, they're all hanging around doing school hours. And I never understood that because, from the time I came to America, the kids had to go to school because school's free. And I never understood why kids were like roaming around doing school hours. And I found out why,
I guess school is free in America, public schools, but we already know about the prison to industrial pipeline.
But they couldn't afford school. And there are some public schools which is called government schools. But even with those, you still have to buy uniform. You have to buy books. You have to buy this and that.
I agree with that because I also help sponsor government schools. You can see them on my pages if you scroll through the shorts. If you go to my TikTok or any of those pages, Instagram, any of those pages, you do see where I help schools, infrastructure. We buy schools uniforms, books, items. I would say about $50 to $60 per student is the minimum. So if if anything on Cash App, if you send me anything on Cash App, say for school, for a computer, show some love, buy some food, buy a house, whatever you want to do, 50 to 60 people. And if you ever send me anything for a school, I have a school that I sponsor out here. You have evidence that your money went to where it's supposed to go within a month.
And those schools fills up pretty fast with like 40, 50 kids in the class, and no more can go in. If you don't get in time, then you ass out. So a lot of kids were out there with no education, and I never understood that. So I'm like,
the school that we sponsor has 100 students, and he's right. Our school is probably about 30 to 40 people in each classroom.
damn, man, I felt so bad. I'm like, when I would get some money, I'm gonna do something about it, And then I eventually, I got blessed enough. Took like $500,000, built this beautiful campus, beautiful school.
Schools are expensive to build, especially when they find out they have foreign investor. Everything goes up. Cement prices goes up. Water goes up. Wood goes up. Masonry goes up. Steel benders go up. Everything goes up because not only are you building a school, you're also investing into the local economy and also workers. And once they find out it's a foreign investor, prices go through the roof.
With a house next door, because I decided to go visit, I could just chill there. Build this nice thing in the village, and I was like, let me get these kids a free education. And a lot of things sound like a great idea. After a couple of years, this shit getting expensive.
And it gets expensive because here, one of the issues that I ran into is that when you start pouring money into people, it turns into a black hole. People who not used to living a lifestyle that they was used to, now they want to live that lifestyle every day, something that they might have done, some food that they might have been able to only order 1 to 3 times a month. Once every 1 to 3 months. Now they want to order it every day. You help somebody once, they want to help you twice. And it's like a level of non-appreciation most of the time because as a foreigner, it turns into, oh, you have the money. Why are you stressing it anyway? Or it turns into, when you say no, it's real hatred there because they feel like, oh, you have the money. You're just telling me no. So if you give, it's not appreciated a lot of times because they feel you have the money to give, and if you don't give, it turns into you chose to say no.
Because this is not like
it's not self-sufficient where it just makes money to support
there's no
itself.
money.
Yeah.
So meaning like I'm taking on responsibility.
Money into it,
I have to keep doing this every time, like out of my pocket to the life. I can't just have the kids in when you have like, sorry guys, I can't afford this anymore. Y'all go figure it out.
Yeah, even Oprah had problems with her school in Africa.
For real?
Yeah.
Okay. So
also something that since it's on speed, it skipped over. He said he actually built a house in the village next to the school. That's a big commitment because You don't want land. You don't want a house in the village. They disturb you too much. That's why he even mentioned it like that, in the village. It wasn't about living in the village and living a life of poverty in the village. It's about when you live in a village, you kind of get harassed, to be honest with you.
I said to myself, how can I sustain this for its lifetime? You know, and at that time, one thing about Ghana and a lot of Africa.
Again, how can you sustain for a lifetime? You teach a man, you give a man fish, you give a man fish once, but you teach a man to fish, he can fish forever.
In countries, a lot of people don't have money. So if you have money, you can make money, whether it's through the banks and other things, you make money through the bank, And I know, like in the States, like I have a few,
I talk about some of our money-making ideas in my book, Repatriation, Tips and Strategies for Moving to the African Continent. Link in the description, available on Amazon.
I'm not a big gambler. I'm not big on stocks. I don't like shit going up and down. That's how you can get rich. You also get broke that way.
I'm big on stocks. Let me tell you.
Oh, so yeah, you doing well?
Most of my fortune is from stocks. Yeah.
For real? Okay.
Yeah, easy.
And like me, I always been scared. Even my financial advisors here,
This is important. Shout outs to Vlad for making this money, and make sure you can always check out this video on VladTV without the commentary. This is big, is what he's about to say. Listen.
Well, I have about like 25% of my money in stocks, and it drives me crazy. Because they say don't look at it. I look at my shit every day.
Yeah, me too.
I look at it every day. Because, at the end of the day, I'll be honest with you, I don't trust those financial advisors. I don't. I mean,
I'll hang out with you afterwards. We'll have a long talk. I'll put you up on game, and I'll show you the books that I read and how you do it all
Not this. He's about to talk about how the bankers told him not to send his money.
yourself.
Got you. And I'll tell you, I'll be open with what I do.
Yeah.
But back to my school. So I said to myself, how can I sustain this for life? So at that time, they had Euro bonds, right? So Euro bonds, pretty much, the money would stay in the currency that you put it in. Whether it's euro, dollars, pounds, whatever you put it in, it would be in that currency, right? And the Euro bonds was paying, if I'm not mistaken, at least 9% interest rate, which is unheard of. Because I have bonds here in the States, and they're like 4.5%.
4.55%.
I'm like, oh, this is almost twice that.
And the thing is, when you're able to get Euro bonds, the more money that you have in a foreign currency, or even American bonds, the more money you have in a currency, like you said, is more stable. So if you catch yourself in a situation where you have an investment 5-10 years in these bonds, the money might explode on you. Like when I first came to Ghana in 2015, the rate was 4.6 Ghana CDs to $1. As of the time I'm doing this video, is 15.3 Ghana CDs. So your money, in essence, would have tripled.
The amount. So I did my calculation on the school. I said, okay, this school's costing me about $9,000 to $10,000 a month, which is not bad at all to run a whole school.
Still a lot of money, though.
Still a lot of money.
Over $100,000 a year.
Yeah. So I said, okay, 9 to 10.
After taxes and all that stuff. Yeah, I get it.
I said, every month this school's costing me $9,000 to $10,000 a month.
I write about it in my book, how to get dual citizenship in Ghana, link in the description. But taxes are a big obligation. Even during our citizenship ceremony, they actually made a blatant point to say, per this tax law, tax number something, 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 you are to report your worldwide income. And America has the same thing. I'm not knocking Ghana. America has the same thing. You're supposed to report your worldwide income, and you're actually taxed on your worldwide income.
How much would I need to put in bonds so that way I'm having this money come in? And I said, okay, $1 million. In fact, I ended up doing 1.2 because when I wired the money, I thought I only wired $750,000, but I already had wired $1 million, and I remember doing another $250,000 more. Because what I did like because these.
All right, so he's about to tell you how he broke down the payment. He didn't send 1.2 million in one payment. The way he's about to explain it to you is that it takes 6 months for your interest rates to start coming back. So what he did was he sent in. It's kind of like he said two different things, but the way he explains it next is like he sent in 200,000 every month. So when the first 200,000 was sent, 6 months from there, that's when the first 200,000 interest rate would start to come in. And then the next month he sent 200,000, and then the following month, 6 months from that one, 7 months from the first one, 2 months, you get what I'm saying. And then 2,000. So eventually he would get investments coming in every month.
These bonds pays every 6 months. So I made 5 different ones. So that way they pay different times. That way
You said 5 different ones. That's $1 million.
Make sure money was there. So I'm like, okay, so I end up sending 1.2 instead of $1 million. And my financial advisors, when I was sending this money, they said, Mike, you sure you want to do this? When you're wiring money overseas.
Sorry, that's the one I thought he was going to say earlier. He talked about, like, Mike, you sure you want to do this? I'm going to go back a little bit.
So I'm like, okay, 1.2. So I end up sending 1.2 instead of $1 million. And my financial advisors, when I was sending this money, they said, Mike, you sure you want to do this? When you're wiring money overseas, they always want to make, it's certain countries that they have a list up where terrorist countries, where they will not advise you to send money or they won't allow you to.
I have money now frozen in an American account because I tried reverse transfers and all that stuff, and they flagged me because I was doing it from West Africa. So this is not a lie. Certain countries you can't transfer money to because of terrorist activities. Let's take it to the extreme. You can't be transferring millions of dollars to Iran. Let's do it. Let's take it to the extreme. But if they start seeing that you transferring millions of dollars to Ghana, Nigeria, certain African countries, if not all, maybe you could get away with a South Africa or something like that under the right numbers. And we already know what that's about. Your money will definitely get flagged at minimum.
Regardless if it's your money, there's certain countries on the list where you cannot send money to because it's on a terrorist. They will make sure you're not supporting terrorism. Ghana, on the other hand, is probably one of the most peaceful places you could be. Ghana has never had no civil war. Ghanaians are very peaceful. We are loving people. We are,
Ghana's listed as the second safest country in all of Africa after Mauritius. Ironically, Mauritius also, the safest country in Africa is Mauritius, but Mauritius also has the highest divorce rate in Africa. I just find that such a crazy, crazy statistic.
What's the worst crime that happened to you in Ghana? Somebody snatched your phone? There's no crime in Ghana. Ghana is probably in the top 3 safest countries in the world. If you Google it.
He says top 3 safest countries in the world. It's not in the top 3 safest in the world, but it's the second safest in all of Africa. Yeah, and the worst thing that happened to a foreigner is probably somebody snatching your phone. And then everybody always have their own individual stories, scam, fraud, overcharging, love scams, things like that, Momo transfer scams. Yeah. But as far as violent crimes don't really happen in Ghana. I've seen minimum fights in Ghana. The only time I see physical violence if a robber's caught.
I'm very sure. I've never Googled that, but I'm sure if you Google Ghana, it's in the top 3 safest country on earth. Now, when you're doing bonds, bonds, of course, are government related, so I did my research and there's never had an issue with bonds. And even in the world, bonds don't go bad unless there's a civil war. Right. Something bad got to happen. And Ghana's never had no smoke, no issue.
Ghana has something in the 90s, but it actually, I say this as just a history lesson. I'm not a politician. I have no political sides. I have to be careful. A very controversial president, Rawlings, he actually led a coup, and some people say it's a benefit because the coup actually led to democracy. I'm not a historian. If I'm wrong, feel free to comment in the comment section to educate me properly. I want no smoke.
So I built the school. I said, okay, let me send this money. It's going to bring me, $10,000 a month. School be paid for. I invested $1.2 million in my country. And I'm like, okay, this is the land where I came from.
That's a flip. Yeah, it's kind of a flip. He invests $1.2 million into the country. Then he get $10,000 a month. Then on top of that, he expects his $1.2 million back. That's kind of how the Social Security is called SNIT in Ghana work. You invest, the government invests your money, and then at retirement age you get it back.
This place made me who I am. What's wrong with giving them, if you had the school money, almost $2 million because I built the school. I said, what's wrong with giving back to where I came from? It's only right.
Right.
If I was an African, I would not be who I am today.
Right. But the investment funds were actually seized by Ghana.
But it wasn't seized. So, it felt like it was seized for it. So this is what happened. So we put the money up.
That's where Vlad tried to say, nah, bro, we know why you here.
Almost $2 million because I built the school. I said, what's wrong with giving back to where I came from? It's only right.
Right.
If I was an African, I would not be who I am today.
Right. But the investment funds were actually seized by Ghana.
But it wasn't seized. So, it felt like it was seized for it. So this is what happened. So we put the money up. I probably it made one payment. The payment stopped. And,
Okay, go ahead. I have issues with playing videos. To say that we are 7 minutes into the video, I think it's done well.
And this is right around COVID time. Right around COVID. Payment stopped. We don't know what's going on. And mind you, I also had some treasury bills, but the treasury bills were in Ghana money. Now those are a little different. Anything in the Ghana currency was fine, was safe because Nick would just print some fucking money.
Yeah.
The reason why I didn't choose to do that amount of money in the Ghana currency was because their money goes up and down.
Right. The euro is much more stable.
The euro is, the dollar.
Similar to the dollar.
Exactly.
Right.
They're stable. So, in fact, when I did the euro bonds, our dollar was
And the euros, as most people know, the euro is actually more valuable than the American dollar.
cedis. Cedis is the name of Ghana's money.
And then at the time he did it, the Biden administration was in office. He wasn't really thinking about the Trump administration and being in office, and the dollar actually gaining some real value again, the dollar being safe. He probably was listening to BRICS and all that, dethroning the American currency. I seriously doubt that'll happen in the next 4, 10, 20 years. But I'll at least say it won't happen during the Trump administration.
A dollar was 6 cedis. Right now, a dollar is 15 cedis. You know, so even the treasury bill that opened up that matured 3 years later, I lost.
Hold on, y'all. Let's just go back a little bit because I know the computer froze. I did a lot of starting and stopping.
So, you know, in fact, when I did the Euro bonds, a dollar was 6 cedis. Cedis is the name of Ghana's money. A dollar was 6 cedis. Right now, a dollar is 15 cedis. You know, so even the treasury bill that opened up that matured 3 years later, I lost. So because of that, a lot of people were enticed by this Euro bonds because your money stays in the dollar currency. They stopped making payments, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? I spoke to the lady.
I want to see something real quick, y'all. When was the last time the Ghana CD was $6? So this lets you know when he invested the money. When was the last time? Sorry, y'all. Let's figure this out. When was the last time the Ghana CD was 6 CDs per dollar? Right now they have it at 1504. But when was the last time it was 6 CDs? Let's see. I just pressed a random one. I won't stick on it too much, but I would like to find out when was the last time it was 6 CDs. Right now this one says investing.com says it's 15.48. That makes me think years. So I may not find the answer right now. I want to get back to the video, y'all. All right, let's just get back to the video. Let's get back to the video, but maybe I'll go to chat.
Bank, she said, we know they have a little issue. The government, you know, years later, I lost. So because of that, a lot of people were enticed by this Euro bonds because.
Forgive me, I can't even play games like that with this computer. So, let's see. Did I just mess up the stream?
Because your money stays in the dollar currency. They stopped making payments, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? I spoke to the lady at the bank. She said, we know they have a little issue. The government, you know, in debt, they borrowed money from China, COVID, bunch of excuses, which is excuses to me.
They use your money to pay back the Chinese debt.
Yeah, they use my money to pay China.
That's crazy.
Unheard of.
Yeah.
And that's just me. I just have a bigger voice.
Again, he said unheard of, but now we know it was part of the domestic debt exchange program. Here, that's the name. You know,
it's probably hundreds of thousands of other people that invested their
easy.
money.
Yeah.
And then, you know, so I said, okay. But then I spoke to the lady at the bank. She said, we know they have a little issue. The government, you know, in debt, they borrowed money from China, COVID, bunch of excuses, which is excuses to me.
They use your money to pay back the Chinese debt.
Yeah, they use my money to pay China.
That's
crazy, unheard of.
Yeah.
And that's just me. I have a bigger voice. It's probably hundreds of thousands of other people that invested their money.
Yeah.
And then, you know, so I said, okay. But then I spoke to one guy that worked for that particular regime.
So this is him going into the bribe, the quote unquote bribe. I'm not saying quote unquote like it's a la. I'm just saying.
And I apologize for blaming my problem on Ghana. Ghana is not the problem. You know, it's usually it's people in office are the problem. You know, so the particular Ministry of Finance from the NPP regime. You know, we have Democrat here and Republican here in Ghana. They have like the big ones are NPP and NDC. So at that particular time, NPP was in office. So they ought to want to be blamed for it, not Ghana. Ghana is a great country with great people. You know, I apologize to Ghana for what I said, but I'm blaming it on the NPP and the Ministry of Finance and whoever or that regime. They decided to use our money to pay whatever debt it is, and then you know what it said to us? It said, you know, thank you for helping us save the country. Involuntarily, motherfucker. I didn't volunteer my money for this shit.
He told him, thank you for helping me save the country. Thank you for helping them save the country. I think Ghana debt was 30 billion or 30 million.
So we didn't have nothing for now. He's going on 2 years, no payment. So now how am I gonna go?
Let's look again, bro. You know, Ghana debt to China. I think it was 30 something. Ghana debt to China. 1.9 billion as of 2023. 1.9 billion. Where did I get? 30 million from. I don't know where I got 30 billion from. Ghana debt concerns grow amid Chinese 50 billion. I do like Ghana media outlets. Ghana's debt concerns grow amid China's 30 billion credit to Africa. The increasing concern of Ghana become more indebted to China. I just want to find. See, this is where I got 30 billion from. In fact, Ghana example, when you look at our total external debts of 2022, which is about 30 billion. Okay, Ghana total debt is 30 billion, and then 1.9 billion or 6% was to China. Okay. All right, I'm not crazy, y'all. So, let's
find new money to pay for the school. And now I'm funding out of my pocket. Now my money is on hold. And, so I spoke to the bank lady. She said, Mike, they're going to figure this out. Just a little issue. Everything should be okay. I said, okay, cool.
2 years later.
So he lost his one. He still haven't got his 1.2 million, and he's still funding the school out of his pocket.
2 years later, then I hit up one of my guys.
Unfortunately, I'm not speaking about anybody particular, but here they go, oh, he got the money anyway. Oh, he got the money anyway. That's crazy.
Guys that work for that regime. I said, yo, man, what's up with your government? He's like, Mike, I'll get you your money back, but I'm gonna need 10%. Right? And trust me, I wish I would have did that, because a lot of times those guys have the power to do that.
Because you still haven't got your money back.
I don't have it back. So I wish I would have did that, but I spoke to the lady at the bank manager.
It'd be crazy, bro. Like, when you talk about government corruption and all this stuff, it does put you between a rock and a hard place. It's like either you got to deal with I talk about it in my book. I know I'm plugging my books, but I talk about it. I have a whole chapter talking about bureaucracy. It's either you go through the bureaucracy, which is what Michael Blackson is talking about. You got to either go through the bureaucracy, or sometimes you want to just and they'll be ready to jump on you if they catch you. But a lot of times they're not really addressing the fact that, this is, the bureaucracy is out of control.
I said, listen, I got a guy that works.
But one thing, the current President Mahama, he's really, I'm going to do another video on it later. He's really doing similar to how Trump is doing. I'm going to do the comparison video. They're really cutting government spending and government inflation. And they're actually, narrowing down just the different pathways. In Ghana, our office could just make an internal changes like, we don't want to honor this document anymore. You can't honor it here. But it's not a national decree or a national law where everything, each office you go to could have their own set of rules. And I think that they're actually mainstreaming Ghana's government. That's the thing that what I see, especially a similarity with Trump. The current Ghanaian government is actually kind of doing the same thing that Doge and all these other governments are doing, making government smaller.
He said, get my money back, but he wants 10%. He said, Mike, if you don't need this money right away, don't lose $100,000 or $120,000. Just wait. They're going to figure this out very soon. I said, okay. I took her word for it. I said, all right, man. I was like, forget it. Then I spoke to a bigger guy. This guy is like cousin to the president. He's like the right-hand man. This guy probably make decisions in Ghana. I'm definitely not mentioning his name, right?
The only problem with not mentioning his name, again, Ghana is a small country. Just that right there is so many people that I could send that little clip about him saying this person makes decision, this person that he's a family member. I ain't saying his name. I could make a phone call to 3 to 5 people and have that guy's name. I'm not going to do it, but in a country that's small, you can't even speak freely like that.
I was like, what the fuck is up with your government? What's up with this money? He said, Mike, everything's going to be okay. We about to figure it all out. He said, if all odds fail, at worst, whatever date each one puts to mature, you get your money back plus the interest. Which I didn't mind, because those are all like 3-4 year bond. If I know for a fact, and in fact, one of them was about to mature like this year, and then other one's probably like a year later. I didn't mind waiting a year or two to get all my money back with interest. He said, when they mature,
they be gassing you up around the world. Not even in Ghana, they gas you up, man. Sometimes you got to just cut your losses.
At worst, you get your money back with interest. When he told me that, and I knew he run shit, I felt comfortable. I said, okay, I'm good. 2 months prior to the election, they finally made a decision on the Euro bonds. They gave us 2 options: either take one, or they'll pick one for you. Right? The first option is your 3-4 year bond is now 11-year bond.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
And whatever amount of money you gave them, you're gonna lose 37% of it.
Should have gone for the 10%.
I should have gone for 10%.
Yeah.
Right? You lose 37% of it. Now, if you give them $1 million, you lost almost $400,000. Now now your 9% interest rate that you had is now 5%. Those are the option 1. Option 2, You don't lose none of your money you give them. You keep your whole amount of money. And now instead of your 3-4 year plan is now 15 years before you get your
15 years. I mean, that might be a nice retirement plan, but you don't know what's going to happen in the next 15 years. It's only about a handful of countries in the world that you know is going to be stable in the next 15 years, unless it's a world war, and America is one of them.
your money back, right? Instead of you getting your 9% interest rate, it's 1.5%. So pick which one you want.
Yeah, basically robbing you.
Robbing you.
Yeah.
So when that happened,
You can't use that word rob. Be careful. You get a lawsuit. Somebody like Michael Blackson, they'll send a lawsuit his way if that word rob is used too much.
I went on Twitter and I lit them motherfuckers up. And I became a hero because I had a voice. A lot of time people are afraid to speak. And
I'm afraid to speak.
thing, if I was just some businessman just trying to make money and I took a L, it wouldn't bother as much. But I mean, this money was to pay for a free school, and I'm doing the government's job. I'm building a free education, using my money to fund
That's a beautiful school.
this out of my pocket with no help. And this is what you do. I went in hard. I went in and what I did probably helped them lose because that regime lost.
Right. But you still don't have your money back, so.
Still don't have my money back.
They lost because Galamsey and a whole bunch of other things. Maybe that had something to do with it, but he was an outgoing. He was pretty much the current president did his 8 years. His tenure was leaving, and ironically, the new president, they ran him out of office in 2016. I remember that. And he ran again in 2020. He didn't get reelected. He ran again in 2024. I'm going to do the videos talking about how similar he is to President Trump as far as the redemptive arc, because I remember 2016. That man President Muhammad was ran out of office bad. NPP just lost in 2024, but it was kind of known and people wasn't happy. All right, get him out of here. In 2016, President Muhammad got ran out of office, and people were like, "Oh, Muhammad's back." Nah, I remember 2016, man. Y'all ran him out of office, man. And he ran again in 2020, and you elected President Akufo-Addo. So I'm the type of person I like Ghana politics because I feel like it's just two separate beliefs in what's better for the country. Whereas I don't think Ghanaians are marginalized. Ghana just has different improvements. They need to find a way. I believe, my opinion, they should find a way to merge, and by merging, they can realistically do something more holistic. But it's like one side invest into the people and one side invest into the country, like the land, the infrastructure, things like that, etc.
The reason why I didn't take the cut, because as long as that money is there, I can always fight for it. I haven't given up. I'm going to talk, but Africa's a little different. I'm sure I could talk to the new leader and explain why I did this, and I'm almost certain that things could change. And the thing about the money, I didn't even care about getting the money back. I just wanted the interest. I just want to get paid every month so I could pay for the school.
Yeah, man. Sometimes you just have to take your losses so you can get back the money. Because I remember I had a business relationship since the start of VladTV with Complex.
He ain't like that. His face kind of... Look at Michael Blackson's face when he made that comment about sometimes you got to take the loss. And his mouth cringed.
So you can get back the money. Because I remember I had a business relationship since the start of VladTV with Complex. Right?
Then he start fidgeting
all the
in
YouTube
his
money
hands.
that I would get.
Then he start fidgeting in his hands. I read body language well, so...
Would go through Complex. They would get premium ads. They would add to it. And then I would get, my money.
My fault, y'all. He want that money back. That's what. Watch that. Watch Michael Blackson closely at that part when Vlad says sometimes you got to cut your losses. His mouth start... And then he start fidgeting in his hands.
Right. All the YouTube money that I would get would go through Complex. They would get premium ads. They would add to it. And then I would get, my money plus.
Hold on, y'all. Forget. This
Have
is
to
for
take
This is for learning purposes. These are commentary. These are fair use. So, if you want to watch the video straight, which you can, go to
losses
Vlad.
so you can get back the money. Because I remember I had a business relationship since the start of VladTV with Complex. Right. All the YouTube money that I would get would go through Complex. They would get premium ads. They would add to it. And then I would get, my money plus another percentage of the premium ads. This has been going on for 15 years. And then at one point, Complex merged with BuzzFeed and Huffington Post, and they went public, and then the stock tanked. And they stopped paying me my money.
Wow.
This is my...
That'd be crazy. These mergers, sometimes they help, but a lot of times they be tanking.
YouTube money. They just take a cut. So they owed me like 1.2 million.
Wow.
And they weren't paying me month after month. And then at the very end, we had to file a lawsuit, and they finally said, okay, we'll pay you the full amount minus 50,000. I said, all right, I'll take it. And I'm a little salty about the 50,000, but at least I got almost the 1.2 million.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, Yes, I don't like losing 50,000. Who does? But at least I got almost all my money. I got whatever 98% of my money.
Mine's is kidnapped right now.
Yeah.
My money's
So
kidnapped.
sometimes 10% may sound bad at the moment, but at least you get most of it.
He said my money was kidnapped.
And I mean, I didn't think it was gonna come down to this. I didn't think that they would, you know, and I feel so bad because sometimes you give my continent a bad name. Like this, you make it seem like every government up there is corrupt and bad. They're just a few that are, you know what I'm saying? You can't blame the whole continent. Everybody's not corrupt. But they made me look so stupid because, you know, when I was in Merrill Lynch office, JP Morgan, whichever one I send the money through, and they're like, Mike, you sure you want to send this to a third world country?
Your own financial advisor told you not to do it.
They told me not to say everybody's not corrupt. But they made me look so stupid because, you know, when I was in Merrill Lynch office or JP Morgan, whichever one I send the money through, and they're like, Mike, you sure you want to send this to a third world country?
Your own financial advisor told you not to do it.
They told me not to say, They said, you know, I don't want to advise that, but, you know, if that's what you want to do, it's your money.
Crazy. So that's enough for the video right now. If you want to find me, check out the books, Repatriation, how to get dual citizenship in Ghana. You want to find me on social media. All the links are in the description. Take care.